Hello, welcome to my channel. We have got the moon card today. Now, this is one of those cards that when I first started learning tarot, and this is my first tarot deck, Sweet Twilight, I thought, what a lovely card. I assumed the moon was a really positive card to draw because I love the moon. I suppose everyone does, but I feel a particular affinity for the moon more than the sun in a way. And because I live near the sea, I often go out and see the moon over the water. I love the way she appears at different times of day, and the whole cycles of her different colours, her change of, how changeable she is, which is definitely part of the energy of this card. And I find the moon very reassuring when I see the moon. So I assumed it was like a reassuring card. But then as I learnt more about tarot, I realised that the moon is actually often associated with quite negative things. And as an example, I thought I would read from... So this is quite a special book. I haven't shown it before here. It is called The Painted Caravan. I think it's out of print now. Pretty sure it's out of print. What is special about it, or why I've got a copy and why I'm interested, is because this is the book that Sylvia Plath read when she was gifted her first tarot deck, which was a Marseille tarot deck by Ted Hughes. This, I think, was the book, I believe he bought it from Watkins in London. And this is what she read to teach herself tarot. So lots of her ideas about tarot. And I mean, it's something that I have read about, and maybe at some point I'll do a video about, because it's quite interesting, is how much tarot influenced Sylvia Plath's poetry. And I might even read it quickly. So to go on a complete tangent, I might quickly read a Sylvia Plath poem to you. And then I will get to Kate Bush, I promise. And anyway, I will timestamp it so you can skip all this if you don't want to. But this is quite an interesting book. So I'll just show you. It's got these original illustrations as well. This is a particularly beautiful one of the moon, which is based on Marseille, but I love the dogs here. So this is more of a traditional sort of fortune-telling kind of view of the moon, if you like. So let me read it to you anyway, and you'll get the tone. This card predicts unforeseen perils and personal danger, as well as bad luck to those one loves. I mean, imagine getting that as a reading. General security is menaced by it. If it falls on the right side of the central column in the quester's divination plan, it ensures that he will receive mercy from those who would ill use him. If it falls upon the left, there will follow mental instability to the point of insanity, which should not be mentioned without qualifying remarks to soften what could be a shock. If, however, this card is upon the centre, then will come sweet peace, voluptuous dreams, celestial visions, the fertilisation of creative ideas, falling with the dew, calmness of mind, assuagement of the passions and of the nameless terrors, and hideous phantoms of the deep, which shall be driven back to that place from whence they have not any right to come. So it's not all bad. You can have a positive. And then it goes on to say, which is probably the more interesting thing, and maybe how we would probably more view it now, I think, on a more modern take on this card. It's about it being some sort of initiation. So initiations are traditionally often quite scary. That's why they're initiations. That's why we grow from them. So there is fear here, but it is a moment of growth. And if we use our instincts and our... it's a different way of navigating the world, isn't it? As soon as it's dark and it's moonlight, you imagine moonlight in a dark forest and how threatening that feels. And there's a different way our senses, when we can't see much, our sense of a sound, all our other senses are kind of heightened, and it's a different way of navigating the world when we're in a moon phase. But as I said, it is a card I still have a real soft spot for, and this is behind my choice of Kate Bush song. Now, I did say I was going to read a Sylvia Plath poem, it would be a quick one. I just wanted to show you, just as an example. I often make cards, obviously. So this was some poem cards that I decided to make. These pictures are just from Unsplash. I'll just quickly show you the other ones. And all I did, if you ever want to do something similar yourself, is that these are just labels, printer labels, and I chose keywords, a bit like an oracle deck. Chose pictures to go with them, and on each side of the pictures, so for example, this is Papa's Waltz by Theodore Rothko. I put the poem, okay, so just and they're different, some of them are quite modern poets, some of them older or dead. And the idea was, I didn't ever use this as an oracle deck, actually. What the idea was I was going to memorise a different poem each week. So I made this a few years ago. And what I found, it was my maximum I could memorise actually was about 12 poems. And then I would, try and learn a new poem, and another poem would be lost in my head. My brain, I'm sure it would get better. I should try it probably again, but my brain didn't seem able to hold more than 12 poems at any one time. But it was a really nice thing to do. I'd be walking the dog, and I'd be reciting it in my head. I remember I had a hospital appointment. I was reciting a poem in my head, which was a really soothing thing to do. And if I was just bored or waiting, I'd put them in my handbag. Just a few of the ones that I was learning. Anyway, so it was. I think I might return to that, but it was quite a satisfying thing to do, and just shows that anyone can make their own oracle deck. Really, I've just got the poems from. There's so many poems online, isn't there? And it didn't take me that long. It took me a few hours, but yeah, I would recommend that as well. Right, so this is Edge by Sylvia Plath, and I just wanted to read this one. So it is quite a dark poem, so skip through if you don't want a dark poem, and bear in mind when she wrote this, which was towards the end of her life, so it is quite dark. But I loved the way it presents the moon here, which I feel is almost quite consistent with this sense of the moon card. So, Edge. The woman is perfected. Her dead body wears the smile of accomplishment. The illusion of a Greek necessity flows in the scrolls of her toga. Her bare feet seem to be saying, "We have come so far, it is over." Each dead child coiled, a white serpent, one at each little pitcher of milk, now empty. She has folded them back into her body as petals of a rose close when the garden stiffens and odours bleed from the sweet, deep throats of the night flower. The moon has nothing to be sad about. Staring from her hood of bone, she is used to this sort of thing. Her blacks crackle and drag. So I just love that this was one of the ones that I memorised. I love that, staring from her hood of bone. That, and I suppose it depends on your frame of mind, doesn't it? So I just said that the moon can feel very soothing, especially when I see it in the water and it's a relaxing evening, it can feel romantic. But it can also, I suppose the moon is reflective, isn't it? So it reflects whatever we present to it. So this is a card also is a lot about projections and illusions, and we believe what we want to believe. And if we are in a darker frame of mind, that moon can seem hard, harsh, that hood of bone. Right, but coming back to this Kate Bush song, I wanted a really positive moon card. I didn't want that darkness, because I like nighttime. I think the moon's mysterious. The whole kind of thing about the tides and the power that the moon has on us, that hidden influence. Yeah, I wanted a great moon card. So I have chosen from Kick Inside, Strange Phenomena. And Kate Bush says about this song, Strange Phenomena is about how coincidences cluster together. We can all recall instances when we have been thinking about a particular person and then have met a mutual friend who, totally unprompted, will begin talking about that person. That's a very basic way of explaining what I mean. But these clusters of coincidence occur all the time. We are surrounded by strange phenomena, but very few people are aware of it. Most take it as being part of everyday life. And I loved that idea of a word that won't go away, which is that idea, I suppose, of a word that pops into your head and almost like an earworm, isn't it? Or a song that, won't go away. And that idea of having some significance, of having... and I think the moon is about that as well, about being more aware. As I said, because we don't really quite know where we're going when we're in this moon card, that we have to be more open maybe to little signals, like coincidences and stuff, which will guide us. And it is linked with the High Priestess as well, so it is very much about that mystery, and some of us like letting go and enjoy the mystery, and some of us hate it. So I think this is to do with the personality thing again. It's how you feel about the moon. But I wanted, this is from the 1970s tour, I think. And I loved this kind of power and this movement and this grace that she shows here. And I thought that was really nice for the moon as well. This is someone who is embracing that uncertainty, that feminine, which I don't mean in a gender sense, but that feminine energy that we associate with the moon. So that is my take on the moon card, and that is my moon card. Let me know any of your comments, and thanks as always for watching. Goodbye.